friends, I'm Leigh Ellen, the new physical therapist at the Bell Center. For today's video, we're going to talk about the importance of your child's seating posture. So seating and positioning is hugely important for things like respiration, digestion, self-feeding, independent play, and other fine motor skills. We're going to start off talking about 6 areas that you want to check in your child's seating position. Whether that be your child sitting in their wheelchair, high chair, stroller, anything like that. This is very important. So first off, you want to make sure that your hips are at a 90 to a 100 degree angle. If you have a tray in front of your child, you want a little bit of room so that they have the ability to lean forwards so they can reach objects. The second thing you want to check is your knees. You want your knees at a 90 degree angle with about a 2 fingers width distance behind this edge of the seat and your shins. You also want to make sure that your feet are at a 90 degree angle and on a supportive surface. From there, you're going to check your trunk and make sure it's upright. You want your shoulders right above your hips, and then you want your head supported so that you can look around and engage in your environment. There's a couple of things that you can see with your child's positioning that would be an indicator that something is not quite right. So the first one that's pretty common you're going to see is a posterior pelvic tilt. So this is when I slide forwards in my chair and I have a little bit of space. You notice how slouched I am here. So that's going to affect how far I can reach, how I can feed myself, how I'm going to digest that, my eye gaze as well. And those are things that we really want to prevent for our children. So there are a couple of things that can cause this to happen. One of them is having the seat a little too wide. So if it's too wide, they're going to slouch forwards to try to find some stability. So make sure that's narrow. If you find that the seat is too wide, you can go ahead and get small towel rolls and place them right beside your child's hips on either side to make sure they're snug and secure in their seat. Another thing that can cause your child to slide forwards is not having your feet on a proper supportive system. So what you can do is you can grab some books, a shoebox, anything will work just as long as it's supportive. And you want to make sure that their feet are fully supported on here so that they can get their pelvis fully seated back in their chair. Additionally, another thing that can happen is the actual base of the seat being too long. So if it's too long, they're going to slide really far forwards to try to get their feet on the ground. If this is the case, you want to try to look for a seat that has a little bit of a longer or shorter seat depth. Another thing that can happen is rotation of the pelvis. So here, you can see if your child was rotated this way, that might be an indication that your seat depth was too narrow. They're trying to fit their hips back in. If that's the case, you want to look for a chair that has a little bit of a wider seat. Another indication of poor positioning is the trunk. A lot of times, especially for our children with lower tone, we're going to see the child leaning over to one side. So if you see the child leaning to one side, same thing, you can get a towel roll or a pillowcase. You can come in, give them a little of that extra support so that they're seated upright. You can also do this at the head and neck. So for instance,